Again, the game that I'm going to be shoutcasting first is from the perspective of NiksBrotha, and that's the name of the guy who played. His actual name is Nix. I don't know why his name is NiksBrother, but cool. He's a friend of mine. He sent me this replay because he does play mostly support for his team, and so should be a good perspective of a support player. So for those of you out there, who may or may not know much about support, like you say, well, support, it always just goes to the lowest elo person. That's not exactly true at all. In fact, support is a very critical role to any team, and in fact, you have to be able to play support well, in my opinion, to really contribute to your team. In fact, you can actually do really well in solo queue just playing support, although most people do like to play more carry roles when they're doing solo queue. But in a team environment, the support does have a very significant role to play, and in fact, they will make a big difference for their carry to do well in the lane. You have to be able to know how to be aggressive and when to run around and do wards, and exactly how to play in your lane to give your lane ally the biggest advantage possible and make the biggest amount of difference. So let me just jump over to the game view here, and we should be able to see that, and I'm going to pull up my little replay bar. So for this one, it's actually going to be him on the side of Chowster and Wings of Death X. You guys probably know who these guys are, of course. Chowster playing for CLG, and then on the other team, you've got a Void Boy who is playing on Trundle, which is interesting. You notice there's a Jungle Heimerdinger, so it's going to be a hilarious game already right at the start, you can tell. Victor being played as their AP mid, and I think since the most recent changes, Victor's actually not bad at all. He's been buffed up quite a bit with the changes, and the reason for that, let me go ahead and mention, is that before, when I did do my Victor first impressions, I had mentioned to everyone that had watched that I believe that Victor was actually quite strong, that he just needed a few adjustments to make him a little bit better. He does plenty of damage right now. His main problem was with his utility, I feel, and the fact that, for one thing, his shield was really slow in getting back to him. They drastically improved that. The shield goes very fast now and will return back to him very quickly. Also, they halved the time that it takes for his stun to actually go off and take effect, so it makes his little stun bubble much more usable now, and therefore I feel that while Victor may not be the best carry in the game, he's actually quite strong and can do well if played correctly. So just pointing that out for you guys that may still be saying, Victor sucks. It's not exactly the case at all. And of course, Corki, we're going to have Corki Soraka down bottom lane. That's a good combination, as Soraka does great in giving Corki the mana he needs to just continually harass in the lane, as well as take any kind of poke back without too much trouble. Let's see, Graves on the bottom with Sona. That should be a pretty sick matchup also. This time we see that Graves actually did pick up a Flash and Ignite, I believe. Let me double check that unless I saw something. Yeah, Flash and Ignite. So he wants to get very aggressive. A lot of times nowadays, the carry will actually pick up a heal rather than an aggressive summoner. That way they can get the full effect of that heal. Not going to be the case in this particular game. In fact, you'll see Corki here did go for a defensive summoner rather than heal, though he went for the cleanse. Now, just to note once again, so that you guys are aware, for my pro game commentaries, I like to focus most of my attention on the person who sent in the replay for a couple of reasons. One, I want to show off how that particular champion is played, so you guys can get a better understanding. I mean, a lot of times you see the shoutcasts of pro games, and it's showing off the entire match and what's going on, and that's exciting. But I want this to be more of a learning commentary as well as a fun commentary, so that you can kind of just watch, hey, this is how to really play Sona at a higher level. And another reason is that well, Lala Replay doesn't exactly have all the features that you would expect from a fully functioning replay system if it was implemented by Riot Games. So you're going to notice that anywhere that Sona is not looking, you won't see their health bars. Also, you may see right now everyone's kind of bugging out a little bit. There is a little bit of an issue with the current version of Lala Replay where everybody kind of bugs out until every person from the enemy team is shown up, like until they all show their faces. You're going to see everyone kind of like bouncing around in an odd way. So don't worry, that will pass and we'll get through that. Let me just go ahead and focus the view on Sona here and then speed it up just a little bit until we get to that point. That way we can get past all the weird crap that's going on and get straight into the meat of the replay. So for now, you'll notice that Sona actually did take a little bit of a different start here. He took, well, before I go into that, let's take a look at what we just found out. Graves did notice a little bit of an invade coming in here into the tri-bush area, so we do now know that the enemy team is coming in for an invade. Might try and pick somebody off either at the red or at the small golems. They're probably expecting Lee Sin, the jungler, to grab that red buff at the start, so they're either going to steal that or try and gank him. In his favor, it appears he's going to go ahead and do wolves and then blue. So that will at least help him not get behind in the early jungle. Unfortunately, he won't be able to pick up his red if they do go through with stealing this red. Now, I'm not sure since they were spotted if they're actually going to go through with that or not. We'll just have to wait and see what their plan is.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
All right. Then I wanted to mention, a lot of people will start with about 4 green wards. Oh yeah, there we go. There they all come. They will start with 4 green wards in their inventory, but he actually decided to go for 2 green wards and a vision. What this is going to allow him to do is remove any kind of wards from the bottom bush area there, as most people now in higher level play will place a green ward in one of these bushes to prevent themselves from being zoned. And so in this case, not only does it allow Sona to go in there and zone from that bush without being spotted, it can also allow bush ganks to come in from Lee Sin without them having any idea it's there. So it just gives you that extra bit of map awareness, and it's not a bad thing to do. It just gives you that that one less ward than you would have normally gotten as a support player. But it's not really that detrimental, and it's actually quite helpful. So that might be something that you guys might try out in your next game if you have a more aggressive support, such as Sona, for example, that you would like to sit in that bush and try and zone people out and possibly open up bush ganks for your jungler. Picking up an early pink ward is very helpful, and I've seen a couple of people do it, and it's actually very annoying when that happens. So just a good thing to mention. It's also really good, obviously, if they have someone like a Twitch or Evelyn, which you don't see that very often at all, but in any case that you might, it's very nice to have that. So. All right, here we go. The game is getting started up, and I believe that everything has smoothed out quite nicely, and you're going to just see a lot of mostly farming here. It's going to be hard to get too aggressive against a Soraka with a Sona Graves lane, as she has the ability to just sit there and heal them up, and if they take too much damage, it's going to be difficult to come back. Now, I imagine that Nick is going to level up his Hymn of Valor first. That way he can just go for the more aggressive style of play if necessary, and usually carries are not going to just allow themselves to take so much damage that it's that necessary to level up that Arrow of Perseverance first. Now, I could be wrong about that. We'll just have to wait and see. Generally, the idea is that if you are just completely getting dominated in your lane, then yes, you will level up that Arrow of Perseverance first. But for the most part, you want to level up that Hymn of Valor so that you give your carry a much easier time of doing damage against your enemies. And there we go. You can see already that they are doing a lot of very aggressive play here. And that Ignite just might take down that Soraka. Yes, that one last tick of Ignite just barely took down that Soraka. She got a little bit too crazy there. And that's the thing. You can get quite aggressive against Sorakas early on. And generally, the idea is that you want to attack the person that Soraka does not heal. So if Soraka just healed herself, you go ahead and you go attack that other person and try and get them low. Or if she heals the carry, then you go aggressive on her and cage her down. Looks like middle lane just got ganked by that jungle Heimerdinger. It was enough to make a play, considering that it's a jungle Heimer. That is quite surprising, but quite interesting nonetheless. And I guess those wrenches really hurt that time. Alright, so so far that we have seen, she's placed down one ward there towards the red area. That's another thing I didn't actually mention from earlier, but a good practice is that as a support player, if you see the enemy team coming in to invade and you have a chance, you want to go ahead and place down a ward in that area. So like right here, if you're on this team and they're coming in to invade, place down a ward there so you can find out if they're actually going to stick around and invade or not. Or in this case, he placed it down at the red area to see if they stuck around to invade. And that way he can still have that vision to know if they're going to stick around and invade without putting himself into direct danger. Now, the funny thing is, while I was saying all that, it looks like Heimerdinger actually picked up another kill onto Lee Sin as he came in to, I guess, try and do some counter gank or a gank of his own. But Heimerdinger was there to finish that off. So quite interesting. We've already got Jungle Heimerdinger doing really well, picking up 2 kills, or 1 kill and then an assist there in the lane with a Doran's ring start in the jungle. Kind of interesting. I've never actually seen a serious like jungle Heimer play, but we might be able to see that going down. And there we go. NiksBrotha actually put down his pink ward there into the tri-bush this time. So instead of get rid of the bush wards in this area over here, he decided to get rid of their tri-bush vision. And they are going for an early dragon, it may appear. Either that or it was coming down for a gank, I'm not quite sure. But they did go ahead and find that out, and it was thwarted there just a little bit. Chastra hanging out with a gold card, just looking for anyone out of position. They are going to back out, though, and be safe. And I'm assuming they'll just head back to the lane to farm some more. And there we go, level 4. We'll pick up the Song of Celerity. Standard build there for Sona is to take that Song of Celerity at level 4. And we'll see if he goes aggressive on them and they want to go for a kill. It's generally a good idea to use that Song of Celerity whenever your power cord is ready, and that will slow them down and make it a little bit more possible for you to give chase. But if you are just poking, then obviously you want to use that Hymn of Valor for your power cord and use that to put down the double damage from your Q ability. So right now, he doesn't want to run in and be over-aggressive, but now that they have this big creep wave advantage, it's going to be easier for them to do so. Putting down that ward to get vision of Soraka. Now they will have the possibility. No, here comes the gank from middle lane, doing a nice job of coming in right when that cooldown was up at level 6, before Soraka even had a chance to use her ultimate, because she's not level 6 yet. That was an amazing play there. Ignite did go down, and that is a kill there onto Soraka. 2 kills now for the Graves, which is going to give him a significant advantage, and that Soraka will lose out on all of that farm that they had ready to go. So that was perfect timing by Chowster to come down and make that play. Right now, it's just going to be VT here, trying his best to push off these creeps. Actually, going to most likely lose a little bit of farm here to this tower. Either that or some harass and poke onto himself if he doesn't play it too safe. And it looks like they did a little bit of poke to that tower. The main thing, though, was that they did get that extra kill there for their team. And actually, who picked that up? Because I wasn't watching. It looks like it might have been Chowster. Yeah, Chowster actually did pick that kill up there. So that should help him out a bit in the lane as well. And Graves saying he's halfway to level 6. Nix is asking this question because he wants to get very aggressive. He knows that as soon as Graves hits that level 6 mark, as well as him, he can jump onto one of them with an ultimate, and then Regeron there can pop off both of his combinations of burst and completely destroy that Soraka. Now that Soraka is level 3, she's so far behind that it's going to be very difficult for them to win this lane. At this point, that sort of loss on the bottom is very hard to come back from. Even if these guys are both really good, just the fact that they did make that mistake early on and then get ganked 2 more times after that, that's going to be a situation that's very difficult for bottom lanes to come back from. Looks like a ping going down onto the middle lane. He wants Chowster to come pick up this blue buff, and that is a very beneficial buff to have for a mid laner, as always. I mean, I don't know any mid laner who doesn't want to have the blue buff. Even Vladimir's like to have a blue buff, and they don't even use mana, just for the cooldown reduction alone. But especially on Twisted Fate, as his mana costs are pretty high if he likes to spam with his cards. Like, generally, a Twisted Fate won't be running out of mana just because he does have that blue card, but it's much better to be able to cast wild cards wildly, I guess, without worrying about running out of mana, and then throw out the gold cards and not have to do blue cards, as that's just very effective. Okay, now that they're both level 6, there's a ping going down onto Soraka. She is going to run up right into her face and try and go for the aggression. Looks like Graves was a little bit not paying attention there. She pinged it and was ready for it to happen, but okay, so apparently he said he lagged or something, and that would have definitely been a kill if he had not ran backwards. NiksBrotha went straight up into her face and put down the CC, ready for it to happen. He just did not respond in time, so that's unfortunate. Alright, so blaming that one on lag, who knows, other than Redron himself. He is going to be out of mana here, so I imagine he wants to push down this lane as quick as possible and head back to the base in order to pick up a couple of items. NiksBrotha is actually doing quite well now with a Philosopher's Stone in tow. He got that one extremely early as well, so he's going to have a great amount of money built up and ready to build into the late game. He should have an early set of oracles if he prefers to, and looks like he actually picked up his Boots of Speed and a Ruby Crystal. So rather than going for the Hotter Gold first, he decided to go for the Boots of Speed. So this kind of indicates to me that he wants to go more aggressive against that Soraka and try and catch her in an ulti. Normally you wouldn't exactly need those Boots of Speed early on as a support. You just want to go for your gold per 5 as quick as possible. It just depends on your playstyle and how the match is going. In this case, he doesn't necessarily need that early on. He just wants to continue to push that advantage as hard as possible, and I think that's why he's picking those Boots of Speed up fairly quick. And of course he does have that ward as well, so that he can either place that down in a tri-bush area or possibly even at the dragon to take control of that area. Alright, so he is now targeting Soraka here somewhere. Finding that she is running back to base, or sorry, back to the bottom lane though. He's not going to be able to pick up any aggression there. And Graves just wants to do his best to put down some pressure onto the Corki until that Soraka gets back. So at this point, it's going to come down to can Soraka get another, or sorry, can Sona get another great ultimate off onto Soraka to pick up a kill before she's able to heal herself back up to full. She is almost level 6, so it's going to be difficult once she gets 6 to actually fully burst her down, as she will have both of those combos ready to go. As far as the rest of the game is concerned, it's quite close, as the enemy team is up 1 kill so far. As far as farm is concerned, from what I can tell, they are actually winning on farm though. And wow, look at that damage going down onto Soraka. She's just so squishy right now, and Graves is doing extremely well. He's already picked up a BF sword and 2 Doran's blades. So I think going into the mid game, he's going to be very dangerous to deal with you know, with all of the amount of farm that he is actually behind that Corki though. That's the interesting thing, as regardless of how well they've been doing in the lane, he hasn't been farming as well as Corki, and that's kind of a letdown in this case, especially as a support player, because you know that, hey man, I did so well, I was able to shut these guys down, but your carry is still losing his lane to the enemy carry and farming. And that was a nice dash there by Graves, jumping in there, doing a point blank buckshot, and that is how you have to do it, because the closer you are to buckshot, the more damage it is going to do, just like a real shotgun. Alright, so now that Corki is past that level 8, you can see he's just going to continue spamming down all of those rockets, and he can do so. Not only are they cheap to cast, but Soraka has the ability to just give him an unlimited bucket of mana. And there is a ultimate coming in. Looks like the Twisted Fate will come in for a kill in the top lane, possibly able to take him down. Looks like one last auto attack, and that Ignite will finish him off. Chowster doing a great job of making ganks happen all around the map, and that should allow him and Aurelia to push that lane down pretty quickly. And that is now 2 kills for him. He's doing quite well. But here comes the Victor now, but he doesn't have any mana, so it doesn't seem like he's going to be much of a threat down here in this bottom lane. I feel like he would have been better off just sticking there in the middle. And yeah, there we go. We can actually see the Heimerdinger coming in also. So it doesn't seem to me that he's going to be very scary either. And yeah, they both just backed off. There's nothing they could have done there. Heimerdinger actually not doing bad there. He's got a needlessly large rod as a jungler and quite a bit of farm as well. He's actually farming just as much as the top lane Trundle. And that is and way more than Lee Sin for sure. I mean, that is certain. So I haven't really been paying attention to what Jungleheimer's been up to. In fact, I might have to find someone who plays Jungleheimer just to watch a game of him to see how that works out. I've always been curious how weird stuff like that works. Not much of a jungler myself. And there we go, another point-blank buckshot doing massive amounts of DPS to them. Both of them getting extremely low, and I think they're going to have to back out here after this wave is done, or else they're going to be in a lot of trouble. I'm not sure if, yeah, Twisted Fate ult is not up yet. Not sure what the timer is on it, but oh my gosh, if they get any lower, they could potentially go down here, and I think they're just going to both back off. They don't want to sit around and risk getting taken out there. Sona's ultimate is still up. She could potentially flash in and to take that out. So that's going to be a tower going down. Looks like Graves doesn't actually want to remove it, but the creeps will have their own say for that. So they're going to go ahead and yeah, finish off that tower. But you see him talking in chat, and generally it's not the best idea to take down a tower too early, because what that allows the creeps to do is push past the turret, and if they freeze the lane back there, it's going to be very easy for them to farm now, as blue team would not want to. They don't want to run up past this area here and put themselves in a situation where they could be potentially ganked. And that's the whole idea behind not taking down turret. Now middle lane turret, that's always a good thing to take down. Usually it's, you know, there's not a lot of freedom to freeze that lane, so mid lane should always go down. But as far as bottom lane is concerned, I guess it's not too bad that it's already past 15 minutes and they took it down. You really don't want to take it down any earlier than that, so I'd say it's not too bad of a loss overall. Alright, here we go. Looks like Graves is back in the lane for some farm onto those creeps, ready to go. Nyx now with 2 gold per 5s, and we'll be building into a Merc Treads. And I'm guessing that is, I don't know, that's going to help him out with the magic damage from Corki. Help him out if he gets stunned by the Victor. Heimerdinger's also got some magic damage. So everyone except for Trundle is able to output some type of magic damage. So that makes sense. As a support, you do want to get a little bit tanky. You don't want to just completely die instantly. You're not very useful to your team, obviously, in that sense, if you do. So it does make sense in this case for him to pick those up. Here comes that Heimerdinger. Now, wow, they took an extremely early Baron. I just noticed that. Holy crap, 16 minutes, and they've already picked up that Baron. I imagine that has something to do with Corki and his turrets, but they have had to have planned that out. I had no clue that was coming. That was completely noticed by blue team. In fact, they're saying, what the? They had no idea. That is unfortunate that they already have that Baron. This is going to be a very close game now, with the enemy team already up by 2 kills and now a Baron. Actually, all of them going for this dragon. They're probably going to pick up the dragon as well, and I think that that's going to put blue team in a really bad situation. Let me just say one thing about Baron buff, is that when you have a Baron buff this early in the game, that is extremely powerful. If you were to compare it to, like, at 50 minutes, if they had that Baron, it's nowhere near as strong as if they were to engage right now. I don't think that blue team could actually straight up engage with them right now with that Baron buff, considering how strong it is early on in the levels. So really bad situation to be in, I have to say. Yeah, it's right there, really already saying a Baron too strong. So that could possibly be what it takes for purple team to snowball into victory for now. We're just gonna have to wait and see how they play. If they play their cards right, continue to farm up and seize control of all of those buffs around the map, it's basically gonna be their game to lose at this point. And here we go, nice little game coming in onto bottom lane, but it doesn't look like he's able to get a stun off. Nice little ulti gonna keep him down off of there. Not really enough damage to turn around onto him, as they were on the run though. So that's just going to be him backing off now. Unfortunately, with Sona not having her ultimate, she is not going to be able to really engage and make any kind of plays happen here. Alright, so let's take another look at the scoreboard for a second. And it still seems like blue is overall out farming, although that Corky is quite a bit ahead. No, he's not. Actually, they're even. So I would say that blue is still keeping up on the farm, and in fact, holding an advantage as far as that is concerned. And there was a little bit of engage going on here as the Heimerdinger does fall to Wings of Death X on the Aurelia. And that is a nice little catch for them. He was probably coming around to try and counter jungle that blue and got himself out of position and caught. Bottom lane looks like it may fall as well with VT here to pick it up. And in fact, he's just going to tank the turret knowing that he has a few more auto attacks to finish it off. And that is not going to be any trouble for him whatsoever. And there we go. That's going to be 2 towers down now for both teams, both the mid and bottom. So they are even as far as that's concerned. Unfortunately, though, that Baron is still going to be a big factor in how far ahead purple team is. And my goodness, let's see, Trundle was quite a bit behind there for a little bit, but he is starting to catch up. He's still 30 creep score behind the Aurelia, but if he continues to catch up at that rate, I think he'll be doing quite well, actually. Right now, we're calling out a Baron at around 22, almost 23 minutes. So we'll begin to look for an engagement around that time. And I don't know what Trundle's doing here in this area. The blue buff is already gone, so not much they can do. Chowster taking big damage now from that Victor, and Victor just tries to get out. Nothing that he can do. He gets ignited for the kill. And now everybody on the run here. Chowster coming in with a nice teleport in. Will he be able... Whoa, well, actually, where did he go? He didn't actually teleport in, so this is going to be bad. Now Wings of Death going to be definitely taken down. Double buff on that Corky. He's going to be really strong. And will Nix lose his Oracles? He definitely will, and that is a terrible loss for blue team. Oracles down, and 4 people gone for only 1 kill onto Victor. That is terrible. This Heimerdinger doing real work for sure. Yeah. I will have to say that this is a terrible situation for NiksBrotha's team to be in right now. Oracles on Soraka being used to completely strip them of all map control around the map. And 2 minutes remaining for that Baron buff. They will have to do their best to regain some form of control of this if they want to come back and make this match a winning situation. At this point right now, though, it's looking really bad, and I don't really know what they can do to come back from this. And these 2 turrets from Heimerdinger doing really work, trying to remove 1 more turret from the game. Odd enough, but he is going to get caught and lose that double buff now to the Graves. And they are going to be on the chase, trying to take down that Soraka with that Oracles, but they're going to put themselves in a bad position with Chowster now getting really low. And will he fall to this Corky? 1 more attack. Yes, he does. And now Corky potentially going to go down as well with an Ignite. And oh my gosh, Graves, how did you escape from that? That was so very close. All it needs is 1 laser, but now this is too much greed at this point as he goes down on the chase after that Graves with the double buff. And that's going to be 2 more kills for blue team. That is the definition of way too greedy. They just stayed in too long, and that was a nice slow from Sona. You notice that he's using his Song of Celerity plus that power chord in order to do a great job of keeping Void slowed, and that on top of the slow from Aurelia is just keeping him completely out of luck for running away. And as tanky as he is, he just cannot handle that amount of poke. And oh my god, he is going to fall though. The turret was too much for him. Plus that great placed pillar is able to take him down just at the very last moment. And there we go. Looks like the Baron will be coming up in the next 30 seconds or so. So they need to get to that area and pick that up before purple team does. As if purple team gets another Baron, that's going to be extremely bad for them. So let's just take a look at all of the items we have going on in the map. Looks like we're going to be seeing a double Woda being picked up for Victor and Heimerdinger, the jungler. But before I go into that, looks like an engage is already taking place with an ultimate coming in from Chowster. Where is he going to land? Looks like he already found himself over here right now. Unfortunately, he's not going to have that up for this next area, and wards will be stripped now by Soraka, and they could potentially be going for this, although I doubt it would be smart for them to start that Baron right now. That would be definitely a win for blue team if they started that. So I think what we're going to see is probably they are going to be pushing down the lanes as much as possible, putting down the pressure, and try and force one of them to go back to pick up these creeps on the bottom. These creeps on the bottom are definitely going to do a lot of work to this turret if they don't make some kind of response to that. So they're going to need somebody. Let's see, does anyone have nobody has teleport, and Twisted Fate has already used his actual ultimate. It looks like that ward is now being stripped, so this is a very dangerous situation to be in. So yes, it will be Chaucer going down to the bottom to pick those creeps up. He actually just throws one wild card, knowing that he can't stick around to pick everything up, and in fact does have to get back in order to make this fight possible. Let's see what NiksBrotha has. He's got an Aegis of the Legion. That's going to help out the next team fight quite a bit. And there's Engage. They were going for the bait, and Wings of Death X did take it. Not going to be good for him as he does fall. Nice pillar, going to slow him down just enough for him to finish him off, but not before Wings of Death is able to pick up a victor. So that's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Without their big source of AP damage, they're going to be careful. Oh no, but Chelsea getting caught there. What a bad situation to be in. And now that's going to be 2 people down, 2 big damage dealers. And will they be able to pick up this blue before they go down? Actually, looks like Graves takes it, and Lee Sin will need to get out of there. He nice kick there. Actually picks up 2 people for the knockup. And they're just going to continue removing all forms of wards from the allies here. Oh no, is this Heimerdinger going to get caught? No, he does not. Sonic Wave almost hits him in the face there. And I think that if Soraka catches this ward, that's going to be their last hope of seeing if... Oh my goodness, look at that damage coming in as Graves just completely demolishes that Soraka. She gets caught out of position. Infinity Edge and Zill is just enough for him to pick that up. Plus the critical strike. And down goes the Oracles before she's able to clean up that ward. And that was actually a really good trade for them. So it looks like Heimer will be picking up a dragon here. They have a ward in place to try and see what happens, and I think that Graves might brave this out. No, he's not going to man it up and jump over the wall for that kill, but instead they're going to go straight for that Baron possibly. I think that there's some pings going on. They want to make it happen, and there we go. There is the Oracles to pick up their ward. And they do know that they're in this area, so I doubt that they'll actually start it, as that could be very dangerous. They need to get some vision of this area right here if they're actually going to start the Baron. But I imagine what they're going to do is try and force out a fight and see what kind of situation they can find the enemy in. At this point, it's going to come down to who gets caught in a team fight, and I think one more team fight will win this game. Now, potentially this could go on into like a 50-minute game if people keep on making mistakes, but I think, oh no, this is really bad as Trundle does now get caught. They have a great ward there, able to spot him running around the corner. They do pick that up, and I think this is going to definitely be a win for blue team now with that Trundle down, and now they're going to remove this ward control. They have no idea where the enemy team is. And so it's going to come down to can they steal the Baron? Can purple team steal the Baron? Or can they jump over the wall and make a team fight happen and actually clean this up or not? This is going to be really clutch if they're able to make this happen. There's the ultimate coming in from Chaucer, and actually did steal the Baron. That is unfortunate. Baron was stolen by purple team. Wow. And I don't even know who stole that. I guess it was Heimerdinger jumping over with a smite. That must have been what he had done there. That's the only reason he would have been there. So great play by the Heimerdinger, jumping over the wall, spotting that, and picking up a kill. So not too bad, trading 1 death for a full Baron buff for the rest of the team. No, everyone else making it out safely. They will go ahead and push what advantage they have left, which is able to take this tower. They know that everyone else had to back off. Oh my goodness, watch out, Wings of Death. You almost went down to the damage from Victor there. Now with his full Will of the Ancient picked up, he did go for the Augment Death, which is pretty standard. I don't see most Victors doing anything other than that. That is an extra 30% damage, plus the ability power buff that you get from that. So it's very powerful. Alright, so far we have an Oracles here. He's not finding any wards anywhere else on the map, and it doesn't really matter at this point. They just have to defend while purple team has this Baron buff, and I think it's going to come down to well, at this point they're actually not in too terrible of a situation. They haven't lost any inhibitors. Yes, they did lose the Baron, so they're 2 Barons behind right now. At least the kills are at least, you know, even right now. And as far as farm is concerned, I would say they're pretty even on farm. They're not like an extremely large amount ahead. Of course, I can't see like the global gold since I don't have like observer mode or anything like that. But I have to say that purple team's probably ahead on that just because of the 2 Barons, and I imagine most of the dragon control has gone to them as well. Looks like Nix will be going into a Shurelya's here shortly now that he has built up his Aegis. And so we'll see that soon. And earlier I said that he was going to be going for a Merc Treads. I was wrong. He actually did use that that magic resist to go for an Aegis of the Legion. So that actually makes more sense in this case. Giving your entire team that aura buff. So Sona is just a gigantic aura machine right now. And let's take a look what anyone else has. Aurelia is quite strong also. She's just got that continuous slow with the massive amount of damage from mainly attack speed. That's kind of the other build that you see Aurelia's do. You see some Aurelia's do the whole Triforce thing. This is more of the EU style with the Wits End and Frozen Mallet, I believe. And there we go, there's a turret down to the middle lane, and what they want to do right now is just push this down as much as possible. And, oh, it actually looks like Trundle did not get the benefit of that Baron buff. Since he was caught in that area there, he wasn't back up in time before the Heimer actually stole that. So only 3 of them are going to have that Baron buff, but they all did get the benefit of the gold, etc. So let's see if they can defend this turret well enough. Luckily for them, they do have a Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate does tend to be a really good champion, kind of turtling up with his wild cards and just killing off those creeps as they do come in. So he should have the advantage of being able to poke those down each time they run into the lane. Him plus the Graves should keep them off the tower. The main way they're going to be able to actually take this tower down is by just diving in and going for it. And that's going to be very risky for them to do. So we'll have to wait and see if that's what they plan on or not. Alright, it's coming down the wire right now. I think that one more mistake by either team could potentially be all it takes to win. But right now, you know, blue is in a fairly bad spot. So if they dive out too far and get taken out, then it's going to be purple's win. And conversely, if purple decides to dive in and get aced, then I think blue could potentially just run in and push down for the kill. And here it is. They are going to go ahead and go for the fight. And looks like Chester jumps right in the middle of a Victor stun. What a terrible engage. He goes down. And now NiksBrotha dead as well. Looks like Wings of Death X just almost escaping there. And will he die to Trundle? Oh my goodness. Trundle actually picks him up with the ultimate. And oh my, or maybe an ignite. That's probably an ignite. And I think that that's just going to be GG right there. What a terrible job. Like I said, it's going to come down to who's going to make the mistake. And in this case, it is blue team. Chaucer just miscalculated where he should have teleported into. And that was probably the most critical mistake of the game there. There at the end. As they did have a chance of coming back and turtling it up, the game would have definitely gone a lot longer. But in this case, they tried to go for... they went, you know, all or nothing, and in this case, they took home nothing, and that's going to be, you know, a great game. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the perspective from more of a support standpoint. Overall, it's a great game. Nice, we got to see a Jungle Heimerdinger, and I'm going to be going in and doing a shoutcast now of one of the Go for LOL matches, so stick around for that in just a second. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that like button to help support me, and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, guys, peace out.